Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 7, Sunday, live news update, rankings, prop bets, DraftKings, injuries, plus your viewer questions. The viewer Q&A will commence around 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time, or whenever Brad and I end up finishing our little spiel. We go through all of the news and our prop bets and everything like that. So save your questions until then, because if you're entering them into the chat right now, not going to get answered. So don't know what to tell you. Actually, I do know what to tell you. Put them in around like 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time, and you'll be good to go. My rankings are updated in the description of this video and podcast. So if you just have a question at an individual position, you can just go click on those. If you're looking for the cheat sheets and everything like that, is up in the description as well. Everything is there. There's also like 21 spots left in the PME DraftKings Listeners League at the moment. So if you want a spot in the best tournament on DraftKings, suggest you go click on that right now. If you're looking for projections, ownership projections, an optimizer, a lineup builder, highly suggest ftndaily.com. Code MAYO will get you a discount on its package, which is already discounted because we're almost halfway through the season. So ftndaily.com, go check it out right now. If you're prop betting, go to ftnbets.com. At the top, you'll find the prop shop. It's completely free to use. Highly suggest if you're in the prop betting market in your state, you can find all of the odds at all of the sites. Go check that out right now. Remember to smash the like button if you're out there. I'm going to be calling for that a couple times during the show. And subscribe to Mayo Media Network. That's how we can come at you free, live, when it matters the most. Joining me on the line right now from snowy Denver, it's Brad Evans. What's up?
Hola, amigo. I am layered up. I'm going to get the old snow boots out for the first time today because the white stuff's going to be falling early and often. I woke up at the butt crack of dawn. It was still pitch black outside. Flipped on the lights and had some mixed precipitation, so a little frozen stuff, and then it changed over the snow. So it's actually snowing right now, and I'm about 20 minutes south of Empower Field as the crow flies. And I can tell you, Mayo, we're going to have some heavy upslope flow this afternoon with some of the heaviest bands of snow expected to kick in around 2 o'clock. Game time slated for 2:25 local time. So it should be fun and a frigid, snowy game here in the Mile High City.
If you have players in that game, the overreaction is always, well, we can't play those guys. It's snowing. They don't own jackets, and they might freeze to death, because we see this happen all the time. But I've seen the total drop in this game almost 4.5 points. I don't know if that's an overcorrection from the book or people are just betting the under so much. But what do you make of the fantasy players from this game? Like, you got Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's no one really from the Denver side that is a must play. So you can probably, all things being equal, find different players to plug in right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even with Le'Veon Bell, expected to be active, but not playing that many snaps so far today. What are you doing with your KC guys?
I'm playing everybody. I mean, look, you are now downgrading a single player here just because of the white stuff falling out of the sky. I mean, they're not cinder blocks. Okay, these aren't asteroids crashing down into the Denver, area. It's just light falling snow. And the biggest deterrent, as I've said so many times over my fantasy football analyst career, is wind is the biggest influential factor when it comes to meteorological impacts of fantasy football and NFL and just, playing football in general. And the winds today in Denver are expected to be right around 7 to 9 miles per hour. Big freaking deal. No whoop. The snow's got to be whipping around at all. It is going to be lightly falling, though heavy at times. And defenses who are already at a disadvantage before are going to be even at more of a disadvantage now because of the footing. I would expect anywhere between 3 to 4 inches of accumulating snow in game. So I think Patrick Mahomes going to go off. I think Patrick Mahomes could have a hell of a day as a runner, taking advantage of the defense already on its heels. And again, not getting that proper footing down. I'm fine with CEH, although, Denver's been outstanding this season in terms of run defense. They have a lot of the fewest fantasy points at running back position. And I'm plugging in Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill, this could be a TD hat trick. Travis Kelce could have a big game. I'm not downgrading any of these guys. So if you're hitting me up on social media at Noisy Wavish, you're hitting up Mayo, play Mahomes, play your stud players in this game, because I don't think the weather's going to play much of a factor. If anything, it's going to benefit him.
I've updated my rankings on DKPlaybook.com right now. Again, those are in the description to account for the weather. And like you said, I didn't really account for much. You're starting Patrick Mahomes. I think it's really interesting to see. I'm looking at the ownership projections right now up on FTNDaily.com. Again, code Mayo to get you the discount on that. All of these Chiefs players are super projected low owned. We got like Mahomes at 4%, Tyreek Hill at 3%. Like, these are absolute slate breakers. If it came down to it this week, I'm looking at two quarterbacks that are going to be very lowly owned on DraftKings. One is Mahomes. The other one's Roethlisberger, who everyone is just gravitating away from with this matchup against Tennessee. If you had to pick between those two, who would it be?
I'd still be Mahomes for me, just because of the rushing stats. I mean, if you look at the DraftKings Sportsbook props on Mahomes, it's 22.5 rush yards, and I fired off on the over on that. I agree with your viewpoint on Roethlisberger, and you look at this matchup against the Tennessee Titans. I mean, the Titans, as many of the headlines that Derrick Henry has garnered here over the last week, and the offense and Ryan Tannehill, all that as a whole, people are just kind of glossing over the fact that the Titans are overly generous defensively. I mean, that game was a shootout last week against the Houston Texans. I would anticipate a similar outcome today. I like Big Ben quite a bit. I've got him ranked as a QB1. But for me, Mahomes, because he can pad the bottom line with those rushing stats, I think that will be the difference here. Though I'm sure the difference in price between these two gentlemen is rather substantial, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, it's not so substantial that you couldn't make it work either way. It's just if you do a Steelers stack, it's cheap. If you do a Chiefs stack, it's expensive.
It is, but it's got to be low ownership, rostership, as you mentioned, for the Chiefs stack, because everybody's got to pivot away from the weather and go to some of these other games. Maybe they're going to start stacking, I don't know, Green Bay Packers, Jamal Williams included. But, yeah, look, I think Big Ben's got a really good shot at like 280, 285, 2 to 3 touchdowns in this game. And I think Mahomes, I think his pass yards props at like 277.5. I think that's a really good number. I think he's going to be right around that. But again, he could rush for 30 to 35, and I got a gut feeling he's going to find the end zone with his legs as well.
Well, let's talk about some of the big stories for the morning. Aaron Jones with his calf injury. Not sure whether he's going to play or not. He's going to be a game time decision that will be confirmed around 11:35 a.m. Eastern time. So let's run through two scenarios here. One, Aaron Jones plays, what would you expect from him in terms of workload against the worst rushing defense in the league? Like, do you still play Aaron Jones?
Yeah, I think you do. I mean, if he suits up, and I think it's going to be by a stroke of God that he is actually in the lineup. I talked to Dr. David Chow, Pro Football Doc, on my SiriusXM fantasy show on Friday. And, Dr. Chow's been around these situations when he was head athletic trainer for the San Diego Chargers. And I asked him, Dr. Chow, when these calf injuries, these soft tissue issues pop up this late in the week, what are the odds that a player's going to play? And he goes, he ain't playing. He just flat out said he's not going to play. Now, that's one person's opinion, and obviously Aaron Jones is not one of his patients. But look, if Aaron Jones suits up, I think you got to play him. He's probably going to get you, his customary 13 to 15 touches on the ground, probably a handful of receptions. Now, if he doesn't play, which is the most likely scenario here, Jamal Williams got to get 65% of the opportunity share.
Are we sure? Are we sure about that? Because I have my rankings right now with Aaron Jones out. I have Jamal Williams at running back number 16. I have AJ Dylon Hot Fire at number 27 in the rankings this week. Because I think there could be a situation where Dylan just steals all the goal line work.
I don't think it's going to be all the goal line work. I think he'll get, some peppering of that. And you and I are very similar in our ranks. Now, I've got Williams a little bit more aggressive. I'm an RB 12, and I've got Dylan at 29. So Dylan certainly has some flex appeal. I think he's going to get around 10 touches in this game. Yeah, he may get some goal line work, but you got to remember that, Aaron Rodgers loves and trusts Jamal Williams. And so does this organization as a whole. And Dylan, as big and football Frankensteinish as he is, sometimes those big burly backs aren't the greatest inside the 5-yard line because they're upright runners. They can get cut down pretty easily. He could fall forward, and given his large stature, he could cross the chalk as a result of it. But I think it's going to be kind of a mixed bag, a split inside the red zone. And Williams is going to dominate the pass down work. So again, I think 65% of the opportunity share for the former BYU Cougar, certainly, on the docket today, with Dylan, again, being more of a change of pace guy, getting those 10 touches per game. And some of those, of course, will come inside the red zone.
So, yeah, I'm conflicted about what to do with them, especially on DraftKings, because Williams and Dillon are both the min right now. But the entire injury report at running back as it stands right now, Fournette, Melvin Gordon, and Justin Jackson all expected to play. Obviously, Gordon, Fournette, and Jackson playing in the later set of games, so you're not going to know that until a little bit later on. Game time decision, Aaron Jones, obviously, and ruled out already. Joe Mixon, Mostert, McCaffrey, Sony Michel, Devin Coleman, and Chris Thompson has been put on the COVID-19 list as of last night. That means Ozigbo and Dare Aga are going to be active for the Jags. But James Robinson's receiving prop right now is 18.5. I like that over. And if you look on DraftKings using those ownership projections, you have James Robinson in a potentially very negative game script where he's been involved in the passing down work already this season at a pretty high rate. Now, Chris Thompson was eating into that a little bit. Now we remove Chris Thompson from the situation as 7.5-point dogs against the Chargers. This is a running back coming at 2% ownership in the DraftKings Millionaire Maker. It could be a huge opportunity for him to do a lot of damage through the air.
Yeah, I'm with you there. 100% agree with you. I am curious about what Devine Ozigbo brings to the table, to be honest with you, because, this is a kid that was very talented at the University of Nebraska. I love the skill set. I know we went undrafted, had a cup of coffee as a practice squad member with the New Orleans Saints, but he's a big, hulking, bulky back. Can do a little bit of everything. And, I actually wrote about it. I remember when Fournette was cut loose, I thought Ozigbo was going to be the guy. I knew that James Robinson was talented. I had scouted him, coming out of Illinois State. And I was like, yeah, he's got a legit 3-down skill set, but I think Ozigbo's going to get first crack, and then he suffered the hamstring injury, and the rest is now history. So Ozigbo's going to play a role, and I'll be really curious to see, how much of a role he's going to play in third downs. And maybe he takes over as kind of a plus-size version of Chris Thompson. So that's one of the developments I'm going to really monitor this week, but I still do like James Robinson getting the lion's share of the opportunities. And speaking of receiving yards props, I don't know if you saw this one, Mayo, but good Lord have mercy. Do I love the over on Kareem Hunt, 19.5 receiving yards against Cincinnati, and also DeAndre Swift, the over on receiving yards here at 21.5. And we're getting some news this morning. I think it was from Jason LaCanfora, or it might have been Ian Rappaport, actually. I think it was Ian Rappaport saying that Swift is expected to see an increase in workload. Holla frickin' Lula. It's about damn time, Detroit, after his breakout game last week against Jacksonville. Can't really run on Atlanta, but you can certainly take advantage of him in the short field as a pass catcher because the Falcons have given up a massive 7.7 receptions per game to the running back position. So for that reason, I really love Swift.
They can talk about that all they want until they actually put that into practice and we see Swift playing around like 60% of the snaps. Then they just activated Bo Scarborough from the IR, and he's going to be active today too. So God knows he's going to end up with like 12 carries in this game. That's how Detroit works. Just do not trust Detroit. So I'm staying far away from that one.
Well, I think the receiving yards prop, I feel confident about that. If I give it like a confidence scale of 1 to 5, 5 being most confident, I'm probably like 4.25 because we use decimal scoring in my system. But, yeah, I still like Swift. I'm still playing him as a top 20 running back this week. For some reason, I'm sipping on this Kool-Aid. But you're right. There is treachery in that beard of Matt Patricia.
So we discussed the situation with Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon if those guys sit up for your season-long lineup. But on DraftKings, it becomes more relevant only because those guys are both the minimum at running back at $4,000 apiece. Then you have Gio at 45 taking over for Joe Mixon in this spot. I think Gio is just the superior play. I'd rather pay the extra $500 and get to Gio. Not that I love Gio, but I just don't know who is coming in to spell him, where there's a decent chance that in the Green Bay situation, we just get it wrong.
No, I think you're right there. I think that's a very fair assessment. Look, we're chasing upside with Jamal Williams because obviously the matchup means everything, and I'm all about maximizing the matchup. I'm an advocate for that axiom. But you're right about Gio. Like, he is probably going to see, 90% of the snaps? Maybe 100% of the snaps, and he's script agnostic. He really excels more as a receiver than he does a rusher. And we've seen this story play out before. If you use the FTN Daily Splits tool, I posted an example of this. Since 2017, when Joe Mixon entered the league, Mixon's missed 4 games over that span that Gio Bernard has started in, and Bernard has averaged right around 19 DraftKings points in those 4 contests. So, I think Brandon Funston, my colleague, at SiriusXM Fantasy, brought up a perfect comp. He basically said Gio Bernard is going to be like Boston Scott was on Thursday. a guy that's not going to necessarily wow you in total yards. He's going to be more than serviceable there, but he's going to do most of his damage in the pass game. And if he's going to find the end zone, it's probably going to be as a receiver, knowing how unyielding and flexible this front of the Cleveland Browns has been this season. They're only giving out 3.78 yards per carry and 115.3 total yards per game in the running back position. So I agree that Gio is safer. But I think the ceiling for Jamal Williams a little bit higher.
Potentially so. Just that game. I mean, both games are projected to be fairly high scoring. The Texans and Packers game, the highest one of the week, it's breached up to 57 at this point. So the big thing, I like your Boston Scott comparison, but with that mustache that Gio is rocking at this point, the Burt Reynolds 70s porn star mustache.
He's Lando Calrissian.
He does look like Billy D. That's true.
Yes.
But if you're going to say like, hey, Gio is most likely to play 80+% of snaps, probably more. I think when you take the Boston Scott comparison and what his stat line was on Thursday night, I say you can probably enhance that by like another 50% for Gio. Plus, he's going to get all this goal line work unless Burrow steals it away from him. And instead of having like 3 catches, he might end up with like 7 catches. Yep. So that's why I just prefer Gio down in that spot if you are going to pay down. I don't think you need to pay down on DraftKings this week, though. I mean, at running back, because everyone is fitting in Kamara. Completely agree with that. You probably should fit in Kamara. He's probably the best play on the slate, especially with Michael Thomas out. His splits are off the chart. Because I do want to talk about these Saints guys just for a second. No Emmanuel Sanders, no Michael Thomas. Benny Fowler, he's not coming off IR. He's not playing in this game. So that leaves Traquan Smith as a decent option, but his role really is unchanged a lot of the time when Michael Thomas is out. Now, maybe that Emmanuel Sanders is out, he just becomes a target hog. But now we're looking at a few other guys that you could potentially plug and play or play for the min on DraftKings. Like Marquez Callaway is one who played over 60% of the snaps against the Chargers 2 weeks ago. The last time these guys suited up, he's expected to replace Emmanuel Sanders on the outside. Now, do you trust Drew Brees enough to make something out of these guys, or are they pure fades for you?
I'm fading him because I agree with the Kamara point of view. I think it's just going to be a heavy dose of him in the pass game and, of course, on the ground as well. I think this is going to be a Latavius Murray game as well. Latavius Murray, he's consistently got in the double figures in terms of rushing attempts in a given week. And, you look at the Fighting Spurs, and they've been relatively clawless, against the run. They're giving up 4.8 yards per carry, the running back position this season. Now, they've been very good against the pass, just a 6.6 YPA. So with those big uglies up front for the New Orleans Saints, with the better run blocking lines, pass protecting lines in the NFL, I think you're going to see a lot of design inside screens, some quick slants, some dump off passes to Alvin Kamara. I love his receiving yards prop. I can't find it on DraftKings right now because they haven't posted it. Come on, DraftKings. I need you. I need to take the over on this. Maybe they'll get it up in time for kickoff, but at some of the other houses I've seen, it's in the 54.5 to like 60.5 range, and I'd probably be over on that. But yeah, I think it's going to be more of a conservative attack here. I love Callaway's skill set. The guy is a blazer. Traquan Smith has had his moments when thrust into the spotlight, and Jared Cook, I think, is definitely an interesting player who can maybe get you 60 yards and a touchdown. But again, I think it's just going to be a lot of Alvin Kamara left, right in the pass game, and then a mixing in of Latavius Murray as well. I think it's going to go for a double nickel on the ground and find the end zone at least one time.
Yeah, so Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris is the other one expected to fill in as well. He's also a complete burner, more of a special teams player, but he should get extra run at receiver. Less so than Callaway. I was just throwing these guys out here as if you play in like a 14-team league, you're beat up, bye week, whatever it might be. These are guys that are 100% available. It would be Callaway for me as the plug and play to go do this. The other one with John Brown, and I'm actually using a bunch of Gabriel Davis on DraftKings. In the 2 games that John Brown has been out, he's up to 13 targets. He's hit his over in both those games, and his receiving prop is incredibly low. $3,600 on DraftKings. I think that's a nice way. If you want to pay down and you don't want to use Gio and fall into that chalk trap, you don't feel good about the Green Bay running backs, you can save your money with Gabe Davis and then still pay up at running back if you want.
Yeah, what about Rashad Perriman? Same game, different name there.
Pass.
Well, really?
Sucks.
Really?
Sucks.
Look, he got some heavy run last week. I don't disagree that he sucks. Now, he had a memorable fantasy playoff stretch last season with famous Jameis in Tampa Bay, but it got no Jamison Crowder. Denzel Mims comes off of IR. He's going to be rusty because he hadn't played. You get Sam Darnold back, and you look at the Bills, they are beat up in this secondary. Got no Josh Norman. Maybe that's addition by subtraction. Tre'Davious White, we'll see if he goes here in like the next 10, 15 minutes, if he's going to be active today. But, I mean, the Bills are, really thin right now in that defensive backfield. So, and if the Jets are scoreboard chasing, which they always are, Brashad Perriman could be a garbage time all-star, and he is going to have a low roster percentage, I'm sure, on the DraftKings $1 million slate today.
I would think that when we assess how the Jets offense works, and almost everyone is back, Jamison Crowder unlikely to play. He's doubtful. He's not going to play in this game. That you want to attack the Bills on the inside. I'd say Herndon, but he absolutely reeks. And that means Braxton Berrios is likely to fill in. It's been Jeff Smith on the outside, Berrios on the inside, filling in for Jamison Crowder. There's a good chance he leads the Jets in receiving, which could lead to a very impressive, 4 for 51 line for him.
I think you tack on a couple of more catches and reduce the yards. 6 for 49, 7 for 45. Something like that. I'm actually looking right now to see if DraftKings Sportsbook has posted a reception.
Not a chance.
Prop on Berrios. Well, they've had a lot of Berrios props, believe it or not, for much of the season, but I'm sure it's already been juiced up as a result of it. But no. I stand corrected. They don't have one available right now.
Let me see. I'm going to try to effort this because I've been playing I try to play one prop from each game. On the book that I use, you can parlay those together if you only play one from each game. But, so I didn't even look after, Gabe Davis. I liked his number, so I kind of went with that. Now they don't have anything for Berrios up there right now. Before we kind of dig into everything in terms of questions and answers, and again, we're going to get to your questions and answers, I'll do a call for questions. So if you're putting them in the chat right now, not going to get answered, by me at least. Maybe other people can do that. And if you start answering other people's questions, as soon as the actual Q&A starts, you're banned for life. Keep that in mind while you're just randomly throwing out comments. Smash the like, though. Always do that, and subscribe to Mayo Media Network, ftndaily.com for all of the projections this week. Code Mayo gets you a discount right now. Injury report at wide receiver. Curtis Samuel, Mike Williams, A.J. Brown, and Deontay Johnson all expected to play. Antonio Gandy Golden out. Sammy Watkins, Brian Edwards, Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, John Brown out. Jamison Crowder unlikely to play in this game. With Deontay Johnson coming back, do you think that caps the upside of Chase Claypool? Because when you look at the Titans' defense, it's not good, but it gets better if you try to throw deep on them. They generally get hammered underneath, and the only guy whose ADOT is in the double digits on Pittsburgh is Chase Claypool, and I just think Deontay Johnson being back just sucks up some of the targets he might get. They try to get him involved, obviously, in their goal line package, rushing. He's a big play guy. They want to get him the ball, but I do think that Deontay Johnson could end up being a better play here.
Yeah, as long as he holds up. I mean, the guy is crazy fragile. He's made of a Waterford crystal, it seems like. So, that underneath work is certainly can be very successful, as you mentioned, against the Tennessee Titans. Maybe this is a revival game for Juju, who's been one of the more colossal busts in fantasy this year, and everybody's shied away from him. They forgot about him. Maybe this is a game that he comes in and it's a monstrous one. Maybe he gets a couple of touchdowns and he's a slate breaker because he's going to be such a low rostership in DraftKings. But I do like the Deontay Johnson call. I'm starting to Deontay Johnson in many season-long formats as my wide receiver 3. Pre-injury, he was seeing north of 30% of the target share. And so there is this implicit trust between him and Roethlisberger. And it is a major downgrade for Chase Claypool, who, with all these mouths to feed, you're basically going to rely on maybe 1 to 3 explosive pass play opportunities. Now, it only takes one of those to connect for, a double-digit fantasy performance. But you are, increasing your risk of a donut or, a sub 5-point fantasy day by knowing that Deontay Johnson is back in uniform. So I like the Johnson call. I think Juju's due, and the setup is great because this scheme of Tennessee, as you mentioned, really plays to Smith-Schuster's strengths.
The other injuries right now, it looks like Baker and safe space Sam Darnold, old Sammy Scrambles, they're going to be back this week. And at tight end, Jonnu is going to suit up. He was taken off the injury report for the Titans. Noah Fant will be back in that snow game, as Brad talked about at the beginning of the show. Just rewind if you want to hear the complete analysis of the weather situation. Your degree coming in handy, Brad, by the way.
Finally, I get to use it. And Mayo, I have picked the perfect profession. So I studied weather. I love to bet on sports, and I cover fantasy. So I can be wrong half the time and still get paid.
out at tight end. Austin Hooper has appendicitis. Dawson Knox is out. In fact, the entire Bills tight end core is out this week, except for Tyler Kroft, who might get substantial run against the Jets. He's always live in the red zone, but he gets, it would be Dawson Knox and then Tyler Kroft steals his touchdowns. But when it's Tyler Kroft, Lee Smith steals his touchdowns. Lee Smith no longer a factor in this game. So Kroft a potential pickup and plug and play in deeper leagues or potentially on DraftKings as well. No Tyler Eifert this week, so the Irish assassin, James O'Shaughnessy, could get some extra run. And Jordan Akins is likely to miss the game again, which means should you just play Darren Fells, who's great?
I love Darren Fells, and he is a large man. He is built like a 100-year-old oak tree. Large, huge wingspan. He's like 6'7", sticks out like a sore thumb in those red zone situations. And, you and I think I've talked about this before. If you could just, take Akins and also Darren Fells and just mix them together, I mean, you would have basically a borderline top 5 fantasy tight end. So, yeah, I think there's a distinct possibility he's going to get in for 6. Like the two low-dollar tight ends I really like, you mentioned a few of them, but it's Njoku and it's Darren Fells. I think both these guys I'm very enthusiastic over if you don't want to shell out big money for the Travis Kelce's of the world.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I'm a bit nervous about Njoku only because we've seen Harrison Bryant play so many snaps that he might still get relegated towards the bench. And it wasn't until Njoku came back that Austin Hooper actually started getting some more run in the passing game. They might ask these guys to block a lot of the time. I know it's not that big of a deal against Cincinnati, but at the same time, if I'm going to be paying down, I'd probably just look at Logan Thomas, and it'd probably be Kroft after that.
Yeah, I could see Kroft, with the uptick in overall share, finding the end zone. Logan Thomas is interesting. I mean, there is going to be a little bit of weather in that game in D.C. Light falling rain. Again, these guys aren't witches. Okay, they're not going to melt. They're going to be fine. Winds are not going to play a factor there, so let's not freak out about it. There's so many people that freak out about weather all the time. Again, wind, people. Just drill into your head. Winds sustained at 30 miles an hour or more. That's the thing you got to get worried about. Anything else, who cares? So, yeah, I mean, I could see Logan Thomas having a decent little game. I had a few too many tequilas last night, admittedly, Mayo, and this is how crazy it got for me, and I knew the buzz was kicking in, and I actually tweeted about this. I took the over on 18.5 fantasy points with Kyle Allen. Am I crazy?
I don't think so. My actual main lineup stack this week is Kyle Allen, Mclaurin, and bringing it back with Zeke. So we'll see how that goes for me.
Hey, I did the same thing, except I went Kamara. So I've got it. Allen, McLaurin, and this is one of the things that I love when you've gotten a good player prop. So Terry McLaurin at DraftKings Sportsbook came out at 72.5 yards at -112. I immediately fired off on that on Friday when the lines were released, and now it's up to 78.5. It got juiced up so much they had to raise the yardage by 6 to try to entice some action, and I'd probably still be over on that. I think he's going to get his third 100-yard game of the season. That's how much I love him.
Yeah, we went back and forth on that. You put up the props on FTM bets, and then you and I go back and forth on them. That's, I think, the one that we agreed on this week, the over McLaurin. This game has been brewing for so long for him. He's going to be exceptionally chalky on DraftKings. I don't really care, to tell you the truth. You can find other ways to be different. Just play McLaurin, and you should be pretty good. The thing, you talk about Kamara. I'm using Kamara in those lineups as well, but I want a mini game stack there if I think that Kyle Allen's going to score points. I just think that Zeke is incredibly undervalued against Washington this week. He's gone for over 100 in the last 3 against Washington, scored a rushing touchdown in the past 3 against Washington, and Andy Dalton's ADOT versus Dak, at least since he's been playing so far this season, 25% lower, which means more passes to the backfield. Zeke basically got benched on Monday night and still ended up with 8 catches in that game. So if he gets back to like 85% of the snap share, he could be up into double digits in terms of receptions in this game. So I just like all of the different ways he can score. And if you use Kyle Allen and even maybe do a triple stack, Kyle Allen, McLaurin, and Logan Thomas, let's say, and bring it back with Zeke, you can afford Devontae Adams and Alvin Kamara in your lineup if you want to.
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's a luxury of Kyle Allen this week, right? Yeah, I mean, Kyle Allen, I think, is got a really good shot, like 270, a couple of touchdowns. He can run, too. His rush yards prop at DraftKings is 8.5. I took the over. That's fun. Why not? I mean, that's one scramble. I think it's going to be a 15, 20-yard rush yard game. I mean, look at what Kyler Murray did. The Doc's in the desert now. Kyle Allen is no Kyler Murray. He's not even like 1/100th of that. But, Dallas just sits back in that coverage. And as a result of it, they just leave the short field open for some of those opportunistic opportunities for a running quarterback. And Kyle Allen can scoot a little bit. You mentioned, some of the bigger name running backs out there, with Alvin Kamara and Zeke. And I kind of agree with you on Zeke as long as you can hold on the damn ball. I think Chris Carson, I think it's like 6,400 on DraftKings. And it's one of those rare opportunities because of the shift in the schedule that the Sunday night game is on the main slate. I think Chris Carson is fascinating. I think a lot of people are going to be on DK Metcalf. They're going to be on Tyler Lockett. They're obviously going to be on Russell Wilson. But I think Chris Carson's one of those guys that could just come in, clean up, and have a multi-TD game. It's not like Arizona has been particularly stingy against the run this season. They're giving up 4.4 yards per carry. And, of course, Carson, too, can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he could be a sneaky good option that will probably not have a very high rostership on the DraftKings main slate today.
Carson and Kirk appear to be like the lower owned ends of that game. I actually like Lockett the best of all the receiving options in that game. I mean, objectively, price thrown out the window, it's Hopkins, but with price included, it's going to be Lockett. Arizona's been really good against deep passing so far this year, so you might get a little bit of dink and dunk with Tyler Lockett, then uses after the catch potential to really pile up yardage. Every 5 weeks, we see the 16 target game for Tyler Lockett. This feels like one of those games this week, and that's just pure conjecture on my part. Two things before we get to the props. One, Antonio Brown. He's going to sign with Tampa Bay as of Monday, so he's not playing this week. He'll be eligible to play in Week 9 for the Buccaneers. I released a video up on Mayo Media Network on Friday evening, right after the news broke, and then I wrote an article for FTN Fantasy, mirroring the same thing, but going a bit more in depth. Also, subscribe to both, but Mayo Media Network, you're watching it right now on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't yet. That would really help me out. I don't think he's going to be very good. I think he's worth a pickup because if he has one good game, you can trade him for the world. Hell, you could trade him right now for T. Higgins, a trade I would do 10 times out of 10.
Done.
People are mad at me for not thinking that Antonio Brown is going to be the best receiver in football. It's been over a year since the guy has played, for one thing, and where he's had this is the biggest part that I think that people are overlooking, where he's had no training camp and there was no preseason. Think about all the injuries that we've seen already, these soft tissue injuries that have kept people out multiple weeks. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's been training, but he has not been playing game speed and cutting on a dime, getting away from guys who are trying to end his life on the field by hitting him. That, one hamstring, he's out 4 weeks. And then what does it do? If he's not getting the target volume that he normally sees, and on Tampa, they have a lot of guys that they throw to, by the way, that they can't even sustain 2 good receivers when they're both healthy. How are they going to sustain 3? That if you drop his target share to below 20%, which is probably right in line with where it's going to be on good weeks. Sometimes it'll be higher, sometimes it'll be lower. Then you're going to see him put up the same amount of fantasy points as Adam Humphries does every week. That's not great.
No, it's not great. I will say this, and I agree wholeheartedly with your entire viewpoint there. And the other thing we also have to consider is it's Antonio Brown, who's batshit crazy, right? He will sprain a frontal lobe at some point and do something nuts and get himself suspended for the rest of the year and out of football permanently. I mean, that's the downside that you risk there, along with the soft tissue issues. So this is his last chance to answer. There's no question about that. But the one silver lining I will mention is the fantasy playoff schedule, weeks 14 through 16 for Tampa Bay, is absolutely glorious. It's Minnesota, Atlanta, Detroit. You're not going to probably find a softer slate of secondaries over that 3-game span, that money-making span for season-long enthusiasts. So if Antonio Brown can stay on the straight and narrow, if his soft tissue issues don't become a problem, and he lives up to the hype and the expectation, I mean, he could be a difference maker during the most opportune time on the schedule. But I think those chances are minimal. And I picked him up, and I am packaging him right now with somebody else to try to get an upgrade with a proven player. It is insane what people are getting for him in trade. And I would take advantage of the bull market right now before the market potentially falls out.
Yes, that is his biggest value right now. You get him for free, you get him for a few fab bucks. Don't go breaking your bank if he's still on the waiver wire at this moment. But he is a valuable trade asset. And just even, I kind of equate to something like Gronk. Gronk had a good game last week. His first good game in 6 weeks. The problem, if you keep him on your team, let's say he has 1 or 2 big games in the first 5 weeks that he's there. I just feel like you're never going to know which week to play him. So he might have these glorious matchups in the fantasy playoffs. You might start him the first week of the fantasy playoffs. He gets 1 target. Because that's what happens on Tampa Bay. Ideally, all they want to do is play good defense and run the ball.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's the thing that people continuously overlook is the fact that Tampa Bay's defense is legit. They are just putting a stranglehold on the competition. I'm really going to be curious to see with the offensive line issues, and of course we had all the negative tests today for the Vegas Raiders. So most of the offensive line is intact and is going to play. Though they've been underachieving this season when everybody's even been healthy, as they're number 18 according to the FTN Daily Trench Tool and adjusted line yards allowed. This Tampa front is a unit to fear, and the secondary is steadily improving. Jamel Dean's made some huge plays here last couple of weeks. I mean, this is the reason why, Tampa's got a really good shot of winning the whole enchilada. As much as it's, the GOAT TB12, yeah, they've got Chris Godwin and Evans, and now they got Antonio Brown. Of course, Rojo's having a huge year, and you got your insurance policy there with Leonard Fournette. Gronk, had that breakout performance, as you mentioned last week. Cameron Brate's been decent in a pinch here and there. The offensive line's done a pretty good job overall, but it's the defense that will take it to the promised land. And right now, I mean, you could argue that Tampa may be the most balanced team in the NFL.
All right, let's hit your props before we get to the question and answer period. What's the fantasy five, the flamin' five for today?
Oh, or the fade five, because if you do it, you might win a whole bunch of cash. We mentioned Terry McLaurin. Again, I locked him in at 72.5. There are some books out there that still have him at that valuation of -118. So do some shopping around. Use the prop shop tool at ftnbets.com to find the best values. I'm under on George Kittle, 68.5 yards. I think that's too aggressive. What does Bill Belichick do? He always takes away the best option of the competition. He, had that same treatment for Darren Waller back in week 3 and went for 2 for 9 and no touchdowns. I think George Kittle gets it today. DeAndre Swift, as I mentioned earlier on, love him on the over, 21.5 receiving yards. The Atlanta Falcons giving up 54.7 receiving yards per game of the running back position. Mike Williams, a name we haven't talked about yet. 42.5 is too low. The Hello Kitties at Jacksonville, overly generous in some of those explosive pass plays down the field. I've seen some props on longest reception for Williams at 19.5 on the over-under. I would fire on the over there because all he does is catch like 20-yard passes. He's one of the leaders in ADOT. Stud. I think he cruises past that number. Oh, and yeah, I'm going to battle with Derrick Henry off a 200-yard game. I'm taking the under 86.5 rush yards. I think you and I disagreed on that one on our FTN Bets Mad Props column, but I got a feeling this is going to be kind of a 22, 25 carry, 80, 81-yard game on the ground for Henry. And listen, folks, always start your studs. It doesn't apply. It's the dumbest thing ever.
My only pushback on the Henry thing is that I think this game is going to be relatively close. Pittsburgh is excellent at the line of scrimmage. You're going to see a lot of 2-carry, 3-carry type runs for Derrick Henry. But if he can get by that front line, Pittsburgh can't tackle on the second level or the third level. Now no Devin Bush. So you always, when the number is that low for Derrick Henry, that's one run for Derrick Henry potentially.
Potentially. And, Miles Sanders, remember he had that huge run against the Steelers a couple of weeks ago, the 74-yarder. Now he only had I think 6 yards on his remaining 10 carries in that game. So yeah, you're banking on one of these chunk gains. And I still think there's enough talent there and that Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line and linebacker core, despite losing Devin Bush. And we also can't forget, too, the loss of Taylor Lewan is massive for this Tennessee Titans offensive line. So those are big shoes to fill for this unit. Bring it all together. That's why I'm on the under.
My week 7 props, I have my main 3 and then another 2 solos. The first 3 are packaged together as a part of a parlay. Ezekiel Elliott, over 4.5 receptions, plus 110, by the way, on that.
Wow.
You're getting some plus money. James Robinson, with no Chris Thompson around, over 19.5 receiving yards as huge dogs against the Chargers, minus 120. And Gabriel Davis, a guy who's smashed this number twice when John Brown has been out. John Brown is out again this week. 43.5 receiving yards against the New York Jumbo Jets, minus 120. You put those 3 together, you get 6-1 on your money. I like them individually and as the parlay. The other 2 solos that I am playing this week, Terry McLaurin, over 76.5 receiving yards. That's minus 130 right now. And Keelan Cole, over 47.5 receiving yards. No Chris Harris for the Chargers, minus 120. He's gone over 100 yards in 4 of 6 games. He plays the slot where the Chargers are the most susceptible. So those are the 5 that I like this week, but hopefully just the first 3 hit. I can lose the other 2 if the first 3 hit. I'll feel good about that. But the props have been running very good the past few weeks. Hopefully we can keep that momentum going. Brad, what time is your AMA today?
It is at noon Eastern. I will have another weather update. I'll be answering all of your questions. Get my undivided attention. It's for subscribers only at FTN Fantasy, FTNDaily.com. Use that promo code Evans or Mayo to get 10% off for me, your subscription today. So definitely take advantage of that if you want your question answered, because I answer everybody's over 30, 40 minutes. Sometimes I go longer, depending upon how many inquiries come in, but I'm sure there'll be a ton weather related. And again, please, for the love of God, people, play Patrick Mahomes.
All right, Brad Evans, follow him on Twitter at Noisy Huevos, and check out his AMA. For the podcast listeners out there, before I jump into the live chat on YouTube, which I do every single week, want to say thank you all for listening. Have a very profitable week 7, and we'll see you next week. Now, into the question and answer period. I am officially calling for questions in the viewer chat. So if you've already put your question in there, it's not going to get answered because this is where we're starting right now. Smash the like button if you are currently watching, and subscribe to Mayo Media Network on YouTube. Rules of the chat. You answer someone else's question, you're banned for life. You ask about Mark Ingram, even on a bye week, you are banned for life. You ask the same question twice, you are banned for life. So you're never going to get your question answered ever again. Brad is off the line now. I'm going to take my earpiece out here to settle in for the next half hour or so. We're currently at 140 or 151 likes, going up in real time. If we can get above 500, I will go into 5 minutes of overtime. We get to 1,000 likes for the video. I will go into 10 minutes of overtime. We generally get to around 600 questions every single Sunday, and we usually get around 2,000. So this is the point in time that you want to be here right now to get your questions answered. Also, if you just want you have like the same position question or whatever it might be, my rankings are in the description of this video, so they're all updated to the moment, so you can go check those out right now. And if you want to hear about the weather in the Oakland game, or not the Oakland game, Oakland doesn't have a fucking team anymore, in the Denver KC game, or about Aaron Jones, Gio Bernard, that's all at the beginning of the show. It's very easy to hit rewind. So if you start asking me questions about that shit, I'm going to ban you too, all right? So we want to make this as efficient as possible so we can get to as many questions as possible. Thank you for your time. Let's go. Stafford is my quarterback. Stack it with Hawkinson or go with Henry. I would stack it with Hawkinson. Better small field stack. Rodgers, Adams, Russ, Metcalf, or Kyler and Hopkins. I would go with Rodgers and Adams. The funnel in terms of passing for the Packers, unless it's going to be Tunyon, who apparently has changed the pronunciation of his name or just never thought to correct anyone, is pretty obvious in this situation. Bradley Roby has been taken advantage of in Houston. Should I sit Mahomes because of the snow and start Minshew? You clearly didn't fucking pay attention. Give your goddamn head a shake, pal. Figure it out. Odell or Gibson? Odell. No, people are answering each other's questions in here. That means you're going to get banned for life when Paul's done putting up the audio podcast, which you subscribe to right now, by the way. If you just want to hear the beginning of the show and not have to sit next to your computers, play it off your phone, whatever, go to the gym, take the dog for a walk. I don't know. It'll be up on the Pat Mayo Experience podcast feed very soon. Again, everything's in the description of this video. The ranks, the listeners league, where to subscribe to the podcast, all there. FTNDaily.com, code Mayo to get yourself a discount. Brad's is only 10%. Mine's like 20% off. So you might want to use code Mayo if you're thinking about using the projections or optimizer this week. Pick 3, Godwin, Ridley, Fuller, DJ Moore, Claypool. So between those 3, I would go Ridley, Fuller for sure, and then Chris Godwin. At tight end, I would go Hawkinson over Jonnu Smith this week, although I do like Jonnu. Need 2, Jonnu, Hawkinson, A.J. Dillon, Berrios, Chase Edmonds, and Gabe Davis. I would just play the 2 tight ends, Hawkinson and Jonnu, like both their matchups. Better DraftKings stack, Ryan, Julio, Ridley, or Russell, Lockett, and Metcalf. I think it's the Russell Wilson side of that. Allen Robinson or Deontay Johnson. Still go Allen Robinson despite the tough matchup with potentially Ramsey here. As Brad had pointed out earlier, I like Deontay Johnson, but I like him because of his price point on DraftKings. I still have him outside my top 30 at receiver this week because I am a bit worried about him re-aggravating one of his myriad injuries that he sustained so far. At least I know Allen Robinson's going to be on the field. He's going to get a ton of targets. How many he comes down with? Yeah, we'll have to see on Monday night. Full point PPR. Who do I start? Chris Godwin or Jamal Williams? I would start Chris Godwin. Landry or Marvin Jones? I'll go with Marv Jones against Atlanta as he is not banged up, where Landry maybe has been playing through broken ribs. We don't know. Chart, Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Gallup, AJ Green, Chenault. Pick 2, full point PPR. Claypool and Chark, the first 2 for me. Stafford is my QB. Stack with Hawkinson or go with Henry? You asked that question already. You are fucking banned for life. Get out of my chat. You're taken away from other people's questions. Huge matchup in week 7. Thanks. Everyone's matchup is equally as huge in week 7. Need 3. Standard league. Jamal Williams, Justin Jackson, DJ Chark, Christian Kirk, David Montgomery. Montgomery for sure. Jamal Williams and DJ Chark. Those would be my 3. Need 2 running backs and a flex. Full point PPR. Boyd, Claypool, Drake, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Gio Bernard. Bernard and Edwards-Helaire are the 2 over Drake. And then I would play Tyler Boyd, actually, in that matchup. McKissick or Tunyon, I will go with J.D. McKissick. Gibson or Jamal Williams, I actually like Jamal Williams in this matchup. OBJ, DJ Moore, Tee Higgins. Here you want to start Odell Beckham, although I do like Higgins a lot. Herbert or Big Ben, I like Herbert. Herbert or Matt Ryan, I like Matt Ryan. Hawkinson or Noah Fant, Hawkinson. Kelly or Jamal Williams, that's Joshua Kelly. It does appear like Jackson is going to play, so give me some Jamal Williams here. And this is all about if Aaron Jones sits. If Aaron Jones plays, all bets are off. I will readjust my rankings up on DK Playbook right now. But as it pertains to this chat, until we have more information, I am assuming that Aaron Jones is not going to play today against the Houston Texans. Oh, this guy is making comments. There's no time for comments. You're banned for life. Sorry. Questions only. Adrian Peterson or Latavius Murray? Let's go with Adrian Peterson. You know what? Let's go with Latavius Murray in this matchup against the Panthers and everyone else out. Is Marvin Jones worth playing? Over fucking who? Is a terrible fucking question. What's wrong with you? Come on. Schultz or Hawkinson? Hawkinson. That's a much better question. You see how it's this guy or this guy? Not this guy or no one? Fucking play Marvin Jones over leaving it empty. How about that? Jesus Christ. Idiots. Josh Jacobs, Antonio Gibson, CeeDee Lamb. Pick 2. I'll go with the 2 running backs in this matchup. T. Higgins or DJ Chark? T. Higgins. Need to start 1 running back and 1 flex in a PPR. Gio, Justin Jackson, Jamal Williams, James Smith, or Traquan. Gio and Jamal Williams for me. If Aaron Jones plays, it would be Traquan Smith. I know you don't trust D. Swift, but do you think he has more upside than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who can't seem to find the end zone? No, I would play Clyde Edwards-Helaire in this game. Evans or Gio Bernard in the flex, I play Gio Bernard. Should I start Jerick McKinnon or Jamal Williams? If there is no Aaron Jones, then I would play Jamal Williams in that matchup. Because it looks like Jeff Wilson's going to be active as well. Everyone's getting all fired up for JaMychal Hasty. Not super pumped about that. I think it's Jerick, Wilson, JaMychal Hasty. That's the way I would end up going with all that. Start 3. Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jackson Williams. Just sit Jackson. Jamal Williams or Kenyon Drake? Jamal Williams. Jerick, Jamal Williams. Again, I would go with Jamal Williams. Jimmy Graham or Hunter Henry? Hunter Henry. Drew Sample or the Irish Assassin? James O'Shaughnessy? Give me O'Shaughnessy. Sit 1, Higgins, Chark, Woods. Sit Chark. Tunyon, Landry, or Perriman? I would start Landry of those bunch. Jackson or Gibson? Gibson. Pick 3. I don't know why you have like slashes between these guys, but okay. Tunyon or Higbee? Patrick or Chenault? Melvin Gordon or James Robinson? Robinson for sure, Tunyon, and Tim Patrick. Moore, Chark, Gibson, Swift in a PPR. There I would go DJ Moore. And this guy is asking his Jamal Williams question again. He is currently banned for life and for always banned for life. It's for life. It's like joining the NWO Wolfpack. Start 1, Robinson, Evans, or Kupp. I'd play Cooper Kupp. 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Will Fuller, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Fuller, and Godwin. Jamal Williams, T. Higgins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Justin Jackson. Let's go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and T. Higgins. Gio Bernard, Zach Moss, Latavius Murray, Justin Jackson. Pick 2, Murray and Bernard for me. Pick 2, wide receivers. Amari Cooper, Stefon Diggs, Chark, and A.J. Brown. I would play Stefon Diggs and A.J. Brown. Would you start either one of those 2 receivers over Josh Jacobs? No, I would not, even in the bad matchup. Jonnu Smith in the flex or take a chance with Le'Veon Bell? Play Jonnu Smith. Pick 3, Ronald Jones, Gio, Allen Robinson, Mclaurin, or Williams if Jones sits out. Ronald Jones, Gio, and Terry McLaurin. Jones plays, Jones sits, doesn't matter, it's those 3. Patriots D or Chiefs D? Let's go Patriots D. Keenan Allen, Tyler Boyd, Deontay Johnson, pick 2. Boyd and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen way above the other 2. T. Higgins over Jamal or Gio in PPR over Jamal Williams? Yes, I would play T. Higgins. Jackson or Gibson? Can't remember if that one was asked before. Sneaking it by Antonio Gibson. Drake, Chark, Justin Jackson, pick 2. It's the first 2, Drake and Chark. Brady or Burrow? I'll go with Burrow in this matchup. Traquan or Landry? Traquan. Pick 1, DeAndre Swift, Devin Singletary, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson. There I would actually play Swift. Jackson or Gibson? He asked the question again. He's now banned for life. Forever! Hayden Hurst or Jonnu Smith? Jonnu Smith. Connor, Swift, or White? James Conner. Tunyon or Josh Kelly? I'll play Josh Kelly. Claypool, Cup, Lamb, Justin Jackson. Pick a wide receiver and a flex. Let's go with CD Lamb and Cooper Kupp. Dillon or Edmonds? I will still play Chase Edmonds in that high potential shootout game. I know they're both shootout games, but Edmonds is a big cog in that receiving game. Paul, is the podcast up?
Oh, yeah.
If you want to catch the first part of the show where we run through the injuries and most of these questions, by all means, please go download the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast right now, or just rewind on the video version of the show. We're only at 276 likes. We have another 10 minutes to get to 500 to do 5 minutes of bonus time. We get to 1,000 in the next 10 minutes. We do 10 minutes of bonus time to answer all of your questions. So start smashing that like button. It counts as a double like, by the way, if you're subscribed to Mayo Media Network. So please subscribe to Mayo Media Network. If you're looking for the rankings, they're in the description of this video. Do you like Bengals stack for tournaments? Gio, Higgins, Burrow. Paul, I'll field that one to you because I think that's one you like this week.
Let's go. Yeah, I think that game could be a shootout. They scored 65 points in week 1, the two of them together. It's a matter of picking the right pieces, obviously, coming back, but there's a lot of good options. And Burrow's cheap, and T. Higgins is cheap, and
Gio's cheap.
I mean, AJ Green, the corpse of AJ Green may be back on track. Like, there's good spots in that game, I think.
Cleveland side, who are you bringing it back with?
Hunt? I got Njoku, which is risky biz. I mean, the safest play is probably Kareem Hunt, right?
I think Beckham's the play there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta set your, make a decision somewhere in there. But I always kind of punt at tight end. That's kind of my move. So I'm going with Njoku and hopefully the other guy? What's his name?
Oh, Harrison
Bryant, who was like a Mackey Award winner. Hopefully he doesn't get much run. He may.
Tim Patrick in the snow or MVS? Let's go with MVS. Jonnu or Jimmy Graham? Jonnu. Thoughts on Michael Thomas production going forward? It doesn't even know if he's going to play next week. I highly suggest you pick up Marquez Callaway, by the way, especially if he's going to miss time again. Obviously, Sanders isn't going to be back next week either. It's a free pickup right now. You might as well make it to see what kind of production he can bring. I need one wide receiver, running back, and a flex full point PPR. Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, Jamal Williams, James Robinson. In this situation, just sit Allen Robinson. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but the other three have excellent matchups. I would play them. Pick 2, OBJ, Chark, Kupp, Debo, or Lamb, OBJ, and Cooper Kupp. Hawkinson or Fant, the Hawk. That's who you want to go with here. Drake or Henry Ruggs, Drake. T. Higgins or Claypool, Higgins. Kirk or Mike Williams, Kirk. Drake or Ruggs? Yes, I asked that one. He did. Banned for life. Well, you shot your shot. Who wouldn't have thought putting your question back-to-back within one question would not get you banned for life, idiot? Pick 4. Ronald Jones, Gio, Allen Robinson, McLaurin, Williams. If Jones is out, I already answered this, banned for life. Herbert or Stafford? Let's go with Stafford. Best 2, D-Hop, Adams, Ridley, D-Hop, and Adams. I don't sit Kittle, right? No, you don't sit Kittle. Edmonds or J.D. McKissick? Chase Edmonds. Do you like Harrison Bryant in a GPP? I don't. I just don't like either of them. I think you can find better options. If you're looking for the pay down at tight end, 3,500, you have Logan Thomas. If you want cheaper than that, O'Shaughnessy at 26, but I like Tyler Kroft the best of those bunch with everyone in the Bills tight end core out except for him. MVS or Edelman? MVS. Bell, McKinnon, or Montgomery? Montgomery, not even close. Pick 1, Landry, Brian Hill, Damian Harris, Hasty. There I would go with Jarvis Landry. Swift or Justin Jackson? Swift. Pick 1, Odell, Higgins, Cole Beasley, Odell. Connor, Swift, or White? Connor. Deontay Johnson or Jerick McKinnon? Let's go with Jerick. Big Ben or Tannehill? Let's go with Big Ben in that matchup. It's very close, though. Start 2, DJ Moore, Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson, Swift, Allen Robinson. DJ Moore and Robert Woods for me. Will Fuller or Allen Robinson? Will Fuller. Burrow or Baker? Burrow. Gio, Justin Jackson, McKissick, A.J. Dillon. Here I would go Gio, the first three. Gio, Justin Jackson. Actually, no. Gio, Justin Jackson, and A.J. Dillon. I take the upside potential. Like, what are you getting from J.D. McKissick? Like, 14 points is probably his max with the type of game that he plays. And especially if this is going to be a close game, I would actually expect to see more Gibson on the field for the first time in a while. This guy already asked this question. He's banned for life. Sucks. A lot of guys who are banned for life here. Man, stop asking the same question over and over again. Smash the like button on your way out before you never come back again, by the way. Full point PPR. Who do I start? Godwin or Jamal Williams? I'll start Godwin. Henderson or Woods? Woods. Brandon Cooks, Jamal Williams, Gio or Justin Jackson? Pick one. Gio Bernard. Hill or A.J. Brown or Fuller? Whew. Gonna go still with Tyreek Hill in this matchup. T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb, or DJ Moore, pick one. Let's go with T. Higgins. Chark or Justin Jackson? Chark. Kenyon, Drake, or Deontay Johnson? There, I will go with Deontay Johnson. Melvin Gordon or James White? Ugh. James White. DJ Moore, James White, Robert Woods, or Jamal Williams? Let's go with Jamal Williams in that one. Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, or Deontay Johnson? I'll go with Christian Kirk. Drake, McKinnon, Singletary for the flex? McKinnon. Justin Jackson or Odell? Odell. Robinson or David Johnson? David Johnson, one of my favorite plays of the week. Chris Carson or Mike Davis? Let's go with Mike Davis. Both are ranked inside my top 6 at running back this week, by the way. You can, again, check out the rankings in the description. Smash the like. We're not at 500 yet. We only have 4 minutes to go, or we're just stopping the chat. That's how it works. So we're at 377. Need over 100 more likes. Also, subscribe to Mayo Media Network to double the impact of those likes. David Johnson or Justin Jackson? David Johnson. Pick 4. Already did this one. You're banned for life. Fant or Hayden Hurst? Fant. Hunt and Cole or Gurley and Chark? I'll go Hunt and Cole. Hey, Pat, hope your Sunday is off to a good start. Been going back and forth between these 4 running backs. Can you please pick amongst them? I did in my rankings if you just click the fucking button, but since you asked nicely. David Johnson, Todd Gurley, I thought just Todd Gurley, Ronald Jones, David Montgomery. I would go David Johnson, David Montgomery, Ronald Jones, Todd Gurley. That would be my ranking. DeAndre Swift or A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown. Browns D or Washington D? Washington D. Darren Fells or Jimmy Graham? Jimmy Graham still. A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, or Todd Gurley? Need 2. First 2. Brown and Keenan Allen. Montgomery, Swift, or Singletary? Need 2. Montgomery and Swift. Would you start Gio over Josh Jacobs? I would start Gio over Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs or Justin Jackson? Josh Jacobs. Mclaurin or Claypool? Mclaurin. Beasley, Williams, or Chark? Pick 2. Williams and Chark. Gio or Fuller? Gio. Standard League, I have Galladay, Ridley, and Diggs, A.J. Brown on the bench. Should I adjust? Actually, no, although all 4 of them are good plays. Sit 1, Judy, Beasley, Shenault, Keelan Cole. You can sit Shenault in this one. Josh Jacobs or Ronald Jones? Ronald Jones. Jonnu or Tunyon? Jonnu. Also, Traquan or A.J. Dillon? I play Traquan. AR12 or Darrell Henderson? I'd probably still go with Allen Robinson there. Try not to use nicknames. Make this as easy as possible for me, please, so I can run through these. Smash the like. We're down to 2 minutes. We're not there yet. David Montgomery and Mike Evans for Michael Thomas. No, I'd keep my guys. Chris Carson or James Robinson? Chris Carson. Bernard or Allen Robinson? Gio. T. Higgins, James Robinson, Jamal Williams. Need 2. Higgins and Robinson. Connor, Swift, or White? Connor. Gurley or Jamal Williams? Gurley. Claypool or Cooks? Cooks. Deontay Johnson or Allen Robinson? Deontay Johnson. Terry McLaurin or James Robinson? Let's go with my guy. Scoring. McLaurin. Robinson or Drake? Robinson. Josh Kelly, Fournette, or MVS? Josh Kelly. Ugh. What do you think of Njoku? We just did that. I think he's going to be splitting time. Gio or Jamal Williams? Gio. Fant or Hurst? Noah Fant. Jackson or Jarek? Jarek. Gio, 4.5 receptions props. Seems like a lock. It's heavily juiced. I don't like the juice on it. It's up to 175 right now. Pass on me for that. If you can get it minus 120, sure. But always take a prop is a prop, but you don't play them at even money. You really have to take that into consideration when you're looking at everything. Gibson or Justin Jackson? Gibson. Pick 4. Already did that? Man, you're so banned for life. Deontay Johnson or Tyler Boyd? Tyler Boyd. Pitt D or Tampa D? Actually, Tampa D this week. I've liked it the more I've come around to it this week. Chark or Mike Williams? Let's go with Mike Williams. Melvin Gordon or James White? James White. Connor, Swift, or James White? Connor. Would you trade Hunt for Clyde Edwards-Helaire? It's about break even. You're not really getting anything there. Running back for running back, it could be a challenge trade, but I have those guys ranked right around the same. There's no need to trade. Lockett or Galladay? Lockett. Pick 2, Woods, Cup, Chark, Higgins. Let's go with Cup and Higgins. Juju or Josh Kelly? Josh Kelly. CeeDee Lamb in the rain? I didn't know. Is CeeDee Lamb made of sugar? If he's not, you start CeeDee Lamb over Juju. Gio or Williams on DK? I still like Gio. Marvin Jones or Traquan? Traquan. Who is the best to stack with Mahomes? It's almost always, in terms of GPP upside, it's almost always Tyreek Hill. He's a slate breaker. Jonnu or Woods? I like Jonnu. James Robinson, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Brendan Cooks in the flex, full point PPR, James Robinson. We have less than 1 minute to get to the required 500 likes to keep this chat going, so I will answer questions for the next 43 seconds. If we cannot get more than 50 likes in the next 45 seconds, chat's done. Remember to subscribe, though. Worth double your like in the circumstance. Would you pick up Stafford over Minshew? Yes. Connor, Swift, or White? You've already asked that question. You are banned for life. Bell or Lindsey? Lindsey. McLaurin or Woods? I would go with McLaurin. Pick 2. McKinnon, Gio, or Williams? Just sit McKinnon. Kittle or Tunyon? It's one of the 2 best tight ends in football. You play him. You play George Kittle. Henderson or McKissick or Bell? Henderson. Jamal Williams or DJ Moore? DJ Moore. Lindsey or Ruggs? Lindsey. T. Higgins or Josh Kelly? T. Higgins. Stafford or Tannehill? Struggling with this one, I would play Matt Stafford. Is Tim Patrick a good play with the snow potentially up and coming? The snow is not what concerns me here. It's actually the deep secondary for the Chiefs. It's a bit of a trickier situation, and you didn't give me anyone to start him over, so over no one. Great play, by the way. Yes, Paul.
Big like surge. Nice
there
work.
we go.
Nice work in the chat there.
Nice work
fellas.
from everyone currently watching out there. So we're going for an extra 5 minutes. I'll make it 6 because we did go a minute into overtime here, and I did do some spieling. So 5 straight minutes of questions. If you're at the bottom of the chat right now and you want your question answered, because I'm still going in order from when they went in, like Josh Kelly or Lev Bell, the answer is very clearly Josh Kelly. Le'Veon Bell, he played like 8 snaps today, by the way. But at the same time, if we get to 1,000 likes, we're going to go the 10 minutes of overtime. So continue smashing that like button. It counts for 2 likes if you are a subscriber to Mayo Media Network. So just hit that quick subscribe button. Help me out a lot right now. Let's keep it rolling, though. Share around the show so we can get some more likes on the go. Thank you out there. All the rankings in the description, too, if you want a quick answer to your question. 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 flex, Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, Jamal Williams, James Robinson. Easy peasy. Lockett, Williams, James Robinson. Deontay Johnson, Antonio Gibson, Justin Jackson. I like Gibson. Some help. Juju, Gallup, Landry, or Kelly. I'll go with Landry. Brady or Herbert in standard. I mean, I don't think that Brady or Herbert are going to be catching passes, so I'll go with Herbert. Jamal Williams or DJ Moore? DJ Moore. How do I get into the Listeners League link? Open up your fucking ears, tough guy. Description of this video, as always. Although it might be full at this point. There was only 21 spots to begin the show out of the 3,000, so I assume they're gone. James Robinson, Gio Bernard. I like James Robinson. Bernard or Claypool? Bernard. Tom or Tannehill? Tannehill. Justin Jackson, Bernard or James Robinson? Pick 2. Bernard and James Robinson. Am I banned for life? My question is, how do you get your hair so stylish? Paste and frequent haircuts. You get your haircut once every 10 days. It always looks the same. Tannehill or Rodgers? Rodgers. Kelly or Juju? Kelly. Fells or Jimmy Graham? Fells. Edwards-Helaire or Josh Jacobs? Jacobs. Williams or DJ Moore? Jamal Williams. Williams, Montgomery or Singletary? Montgomery. Henderson or McKissick? Henderson. Pick 3. Godwin, Julio, Keenan Allen, Fuller, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson. Godwin, Julio, Keenan Allen. Those 3. The first 3 of those questions. Let's go here. Hasty, Hyde, McKissick, or Akers? Ugh, McKissick. If Jones doesn't play, Fournette or Jamal Williams. I guess that's Aaron Jones. Jamal Williams would be the answer. Fournette's a terrible play. Traquan, Christian Kirk, Keelan Cole, or Juju Smith-Schuster. I actually like Keelan Cole the best. Debo, Beasley, or Cooks? Cooks. Gibson, Cup, or Jamal Williams at the flex. Let's go with Jamal Williams. Claypool or Jamal Williams? Jamal Williams. Juju or Deontay? Deontay. Pick 2. Need at least 1 wide receiver. Evans, Fuller, Odell, Drake, Robinson. Robinson and Odell this week. Gio or McKinnon? Gio. Lindsey or Jackson? Jackson. Gio or McKinnon? Gio. Henderson, Traquan, or Chark? Start 2. Traquan and Chark. A.J. Brown or Will Fuller? A.J. Brown. Hasty, Hyde, I already did that one. You're banned for life. Do not ask the same fucking question twice. And we're not going to get anywhere near the like total, so we're going to be wrapping this up in 2 minutes unless we get to the surge of 1,000 likes within the next 2 minutes. Again, if you are subscribed, your like counts as 2, so subscribe to Mayo Media Network. And again, if you have a very quick question that you don't want to wait for, the rankings are in the description of the video and up on DKPlaybook.com. You want projections and ownership projections? Projections are way better than my rankings, by the way. FTNDaily.com, already 25% off right now. Use code Mayo, you get another 20% off. Highly suggest you check that out. Just click on the link in the description to FTNDaily.com. All of the tools are up there, but mainly those projections. Rapid fire for 2 minutes, in case we don't get to the 1,000 likes. Gurley, Bernard, Chark, or Woods. Pick 2. Bernard and Gurley. Watson or Rodgers? Watson. Mike Williams, Traquan, or Latavius Murray? Mike Williams. Better running back behind Mostert. Well, Mostert's not playing, so it's McKinnon. Gio or Jamal Williams? Gio. Robbie Anderson or Lockett? Lockett. Singletary or Bernard? Bernard. Breeze or Burrow? Burrow. Madison or Renfro? Well, Renfro is playing. Madison is on bye week. Let's go with Renfro on that one. Easy one for me. Keenan Allen or Tyler Lockett? I like Tyler Lockett still. Justin Jackson or Josh Kelly? Josh Kelly this week, just with Jackson banged up a little bit. Moore or Higgins? Higgins. Breeze or Burrow? Burrow. CD or Gibson? Gibson. A.J. Brown, Edelman, Swift, or Chark? Pick 2. Swift and A.J. Brown. Gibson or Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Edwards-Helaire. Chark or Cup? Cup. Pick 3. Chark, Gio, Higgins, and Gibson. Gio, Higgins, and Gibson. Adrian Peterson, Josh Kelly, Dylan, or Moss. Kelly and AP, I guess. Ugh. CD or Gibson? Gibson. A.J. Dillon or Jamal Williams? Jamal Williams. Cole or Lamb? Cole. Moore or Higgins? Higgins. Jared Cook or Schultz? Cook. Fells or Schultz? Fells. McKinnon or Jamal Williams? McKinnon. Singletary or McKinnon? McKinnon. Moore or Higgins? Higgins. Gibson or Claypool? Gibson. Singletary or Williams? Williams. Moore or Higgins? Higgins. This guy keeps asking the same question. You are currently banned for life. You do not ask the same question twice. You are taking away from other people, and there was a finite amount of time on all this because that guy fucked it up for everyone. I'll do an extra 2 minutes, and we'll do an extra 10 minutes if we get to the 1,000 likes. Only at 600 right now, and it counts as double if you were subscribed to Mayo Media Network. Gordon or Chark? Chark. Lamb or Cole Senor? I like Keelan Cole. Do we know if Josh Jacobs has an offensive line today? He has 4 of them. They all passed COVID just this morning. Logan Thomas, Dalton Schultz, or Tyler Kroft? Logan Thomas. Gordon or Lindsey? I like Gordon, I guess. Ugh. Singletary or McKinnon? McKinnon. Ronald Jones or Jamal Williams? Ronald Jones. Singletary or Gio Bernard? Gio Bernard. Lindsey or Jackson? Jackson. Mike Williams or Deontay Johnson? Let's go with Mike Williams. Gurley or James Robinson? James Robinson. Claypool or Williams? Don't know which Williams you're talking about. I assume it's Jamal Williams. I'll play Jamal Williams. Drake, Traquan, or Cooper Kupp? I like Cooper Kupp. Gibson, Williams, or Gio? Gio. Traquan or Chark? Chark. Higgins or Johnson? That could be any fucking person in the league. You know how many people have the last name Johnson? Take T. Higgins, I guess. Waller or Hunter Henry? Waller. And we're out of time. Actually, no, we'll go 2 more minutes. I guess we'll go to 11:10. We're not going to get to the 1,000 likes. Thanks for nothing. Thanks to all of you who did like. I very much appreciate it. I hope I answered your question from that one. Bernard or Drake? Bernard. McKinnon or Jacobs? Jacobs. A.J. Brown or Claypool or Mclaurin? Mclaurin. It would be Mclaurin, Brown, Claypool. Lamb, Cooper, or Chark? Lamb. Fuller, Boyd, or DJ Moore? Fuller. Claypool or Cooks? Claypool. Woods or Deontay? Woods. Aaron Jones over Allen Robinson or Chark or Gio? No, just play Gio. And I don't think Aaron Jones is playing. I haven't seen the update on that yet. We'll know in about 20 minutes or so, but I will not be on air anymore. Chark, Fuller, McLaurin, pick 2. Fuller and McLaurin. Fells or Jonnu? Jonnu. Higgins or Deontay Johnson? Higgins. Jacobs or Jamal Williams? Josh Jacobs. Mike Williams or Ruggs? Mike Williams. Jamal Williams or Gio? Gio. Chark or DJ Moore, DJ Moore. Melvin Gordon or Chase Edmonds, Chase Edmonds. Kirk or Swift, Kirk. Claypool or Fuller, Fuller. Singletary, Gallup or Lat Murray, Lat Murray. Cup, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, pick 2, Cup and T. Higgins. Melvin Gordon or Jamal Williams, Jamal Williams. Mclaurin or Christian Kirk. In the rain, oh no, he's made of sugar. You can't play him. He's going to fucking melt on the field. Play fucking Terry McLaurin. Give your fucking head a shake for even thinking about that. Keelan Cole or Debo Samuel. Keelan Cole. Full or Gibson. I assume that's Fuller or Gibson. Gibson. Connor, Hunt, Jacobs. Pick 2. Hunt and Connor. Deontay or Chark. Deontay. Chark, Woods, Boyd, Deontay Johnson, and Brendan Cooks sit 1. You can sit Brendan Cooks in this matchup. Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams. Paul, do we know if Aaron Jones is a player or is this guy just really behind on his information?
I've been looking, and I just don't see anything. I think it's a game-time decision. He's going to have to get through, like, run-throughs and all that stuff.
Rewind to the beginning of the show when we broke down this entire situation in full. Fuller or Gibson? Gibson. Lamb, Cooper, or Chark, Lamb. Herbert or Deshaun, Gibson or Fuller, Gibson. Chark or Keelan Cole, David Johnson or Josh Jacobs, David Johnson. Fells or Graham, Fells. Defense for beep, that site that we don't talk about. Withdraw all your money from FanDuel and play on DraftKings. That is the smart move. Gordon or Jacobs, Geo or Kirk, Geo. DeAndre Hopkins, should I start him? All right, that's enough. We didn't get to the 1,000, and that question just ruined my day. Thank you all for watching out there. We went through all of the questions that we could get to in the allotted 40 minutes that we did the question and answer period. We did not get to the 1,000 likes, so we are not going into overtime. Thank you all for answering the questions. We'll be back live again next Sunday. If we get to the 1,000 likes, we'll go even deeper into the day. We did an extra 10 minutes of time today. We can go up to an extra 20 minutes if we get to those 1,000 likes. If you are subscribed to Mayo Media Network, which I suggest you do, that would really help me out, those likes count as 2 up there right now. The entire show, the first 35 minutes, is a breakdown of all the injury news of the day, all of the prop bets of the day with Brad Evans. You can just rewind to the beginning and check all of that out. If it's your Geo, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams situation, we have that covered. Antonio Brown, he is covered. Michael Thomas, he is covered. And all of the best streams and prop plays of the day, all covered, plus the weather in the Kansas City and Denver game, all at the very beginning of the show. You can also download the non-question and answer period on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, under the Pat Mayo Experience. Highly recommend that you go do that right now. And if you just have a very simple start-sit question, my rankings are up on DKPlaybook.com, updated to this very second, and in the description of this video right now. You just click the link, you look at the numbers. The numbers next to those names are the rankings. They are in the order of the guys that I would play over the other guys. Very easy way to get your question answered. Thank you all for watching today. I will see you on Monday with waiver wire pickups. Please go win some money. That would be great. All right? I'll see you next time.